Sapiophile. Noun. One who is attracted to intelligence. Join us, 3 fun-loving lovers of knowledge who are ready to dig into your favorite topics with our very own nerdy diatribes, words of wisdom, and takes on life as millennials. Welcome to the Sapiophiles.
This isn't random, but I thought of animal, and then I saw your shirt, and I saw Raven, and now I'm thinking, of course, I'm thinking Harry Potter.
Since this is a nerd show, I should mention I'm wearing a Ravenclaw shirt.
Yeah.
Do you think, Lily Evans and Severus Snape could have ever worked out?
I love that this happened.
Taking, James Potter out of the picture.
Yeah.
No.
Oh. She seemed like she got
friends.
along with him. No, there was a bond there.
Yeah.
There was a bond there, and his darkness came after that. I don't think he would have become the Snape we knew.
I don't think he's a really dark person deep down because...
No, he's not.
Everything he did throughout that whole series, was motivated by his love for Lily. And yes, he, quote unquote, we were meant to believe that he hated Harry, but he really just...
It was hard for him to look at Harry.
Because he looked exactly like James, except
for Lily's eyes.
For Lily's eyes, which was
Lily's hazel eyes.
And now we're in Secret Garden, the musical.
I'm sorry, but
so
I would like to think that it could have, because I felt really bad for Snape. Once we learned his true colors. And I see your true
Okay.
And there's the wine.
So, yes, I agree. I think that they could have worked, but it would have changed a lot of the series. I don't know that it should have happened, but I think that in those flashbacks when they're young, she did care about him.
Right. I didn't necessarily mean in context of the series.
Yeah, I think it could have happened, and I think it would have taken some of the Snape that we knew, the darkness, away.
Right.
Also on the subject, somebody give Alan Rickman an Oscar for that. I mean...
I know.
Epic Snape performance.
I'm so sad that he's no longer with us.
I know.
Not to be that segue girl, but
I
want to play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
With the Snape and Lily question. I'm first of all, as a literary person, I truly appreciate the depth and gray areas surrounding Snape's character.
Mm-hmm. He was probably the most interesting character in the series.
Debatable, but we'll keep on.
One of them.
Okay. I wrote my master's thesis using Harry Potter, so it's over there.
Of course you did.
Hashtag nerd.
We're all nerds. Let's be real.
All the nerds together.
Continue.
But I'm also, loyal listeners, loyal of this one podcast, I'm an ENFJ. So what that means in Myers-Briggs type indicator is that I'm an extrovert, intuitive, feeler, judger. And my J is super high. Super, super high.
You should all go check out this personality quiz, by the way, if you don't know who you are. It's very insightful.
MBTI, Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. Myers, MYERS Briggs with 2 G's.
I need to recheck mine.
It's great. It's a lot of questions, but it's worth it. It's really worth it for your workplaces too. So if you have issues in the workplace and you're thinking of doing a professional development, Train the Trainer, definitely do Myers-Briggs because it brings out a lot of what each type really needs and how they can contribute. That's my little segue for professional development. But in any case, I do, and I've grown as an individual as I've met and interacted with different friends. But I do have a more judgmental way about me, especially when it comes to my ideas of right and wrong and what I believe to be morally and ethically correct. But for me, even taking away the James relationship with Lily, even taking James out of the picture, which breaks me, but even just taking him out completely, I feel like Severus was still that character that unfortunately would have been bullied in school, whether it was James or another person who would have been bullied. And I think that would have led him down to the path that ultimately led to the path that Lily could not be in a relationship with him because that path led him to be one of the Death Eaters, to be involved in the dark arts. And that was something for Lily that was not acceptable. It's kind of like that deal breaker. So take away James, yes, that friendship still would have been there, but I think that his path even though he redeemed himself later, still would have led him to that place that he did choose that darkness. And I think for Lily, choosing that darkness, choosing that group that was actively against people that were people like her, like people that were Muggle-born, would have been a complete deal breaker, and they never would have worked out because of that. So I think that is a reason why, even without James,
Well,
Lily and Severus would not have worked out.
I would argue that had Lily accepted him for who he was,
As a Death Eater?
well, no,
Before he was
before
Death
I'm
Eater.
talking about
As
they
a
grew
teenager.
up together. Well, they were still in school
Yeah.
before he joined all that. I don't remember when before he was evil,
Yeah.
so to speak. Had she because okay, let me rewind. You will see if you remember through the flashbacks and everything, he was always the character that God made fun of, called Snivelous Snape. He didn't have many friends. If Lily had accepted him and
She did.
but to
You need to see Kayla's face right
I know,
now
I-
because
if
she's.
she had if she
You
had
get your
given him
turn.
a chance, if she had maybe reciprocated his feelings for her and they were together, I would say that he would have felt that sense of love and belonging that he so craved, that he didn't get that from her. He joined the Death Eaters, and that was his family. That's where he felt like he belonged. If he had got that from her, I'm not convinced that he would have gone down the path of darkness, because he would have been in a happy place. He went to Lord Voldemort because, like all the other Death Eaters, he wanted to feel a sense of belonging and power. Like, oh, you are my chosen one. You were the best. I rely on you. Like I don't know.
Do you want to go first? I think we're going to say the same
Maybe.
exact thing.
Maybe. I
Or
think yours
part
is
of it.
more. I think yours is more than mine.
Okay.
I get what you're saying. I think it's dangerous to put your happiness in another person. In general, in life, whether or not we're talking about Harry Potter.
Right. But that's
so-
one of his flaws.
No, I get that. But I think ultimately, when you put your happiness in another person, you aren't happy.
But that's my point. He wasn't happy
Right.
to begin with.
But if he had used Lily to be happy,
She was his conduit for happiness.
I just think it's dangerous. I mean, psychologically, and like I said before, I do think there was a possibility that it could have happened. I just think that in how she wrote it, coming from a point that he needed her to feel okay about himself, I guess it goes back to being an autonomous person.
Well, I think you need to look at why was he unhappy.
All right, Kayla is raring to go.
Okay, so firstly, because the foremost part is coming at the end. In the episode with the flashbacks, there's a scene with Lily at the entrance to the Gryffindor common room, and she's talking to Snape because he's the one that yelled mudblood, because when James was making fun of him, Lily was continuously, like, over and over again. This is before Lily and James were dating, because they didn't date until after this moment. She was still defending him, and when she defended him, he said, "I don't need your help, you mudblood." And of course he said it in anger, but something like that to someone like Lily is atrocious.
I forgot that he said that.
And she defended him and was there for him throughout their entire childhood until that moment. And she even said, I can't believe you said that, why you hanging out with those people. And she was okay with him hanging out with the Death Eaters until he was the one that specifically said mudblood. So until he uttered a word that was repulsive to her, she saw there was redemptive qualities in him. So that's firstly. Secondly, there's a huge parallel historically to the Death Eaters and people and Nazis, KKK, any groups that are like those zealots. And to what point do we argue that like everybody just is okay because they needed that connection with someone? And I understand that, like, from a historical perspective, like after World War I, the German people were incredibly poor, people were starving, and they needed someone to count on, and that's why Hitler was able to rise to power. And like the same thing with anything.
Right, but he's not I don't equate him as a Nazi.
Voldemort?
No, Snape.
he was.
Well, the Death
A Death
Eaters
Eater
are
was
the
a
Nazis.
Nazi.
They are a parallel.
Because there were different levels of Nazis. Like, there were people that were, like, way up with Adolf Hitler, and then there were
But
Nazi youth that just
he
had-
recognized the horror and what was being done, and
did.
he
So did-
redeemed himself, and then
So
he
did Oscar
dedicated.
Schindler.
He was
But
kind of a double
but he-
agent,
but
yeah.
he dedicated the rest of his life into, looking after Lily's son and making amends to the degree that he could.
But he never... I mean,
Yes, you cannot do what you did, but
Right.
he tried. He
Yeah,
did
of
everything
course.
that he could.
Of course. I also think that a lot of it was for Lily, not for Lily's son. But that's a whole nother argument. And then finally, a woman should not be the sole purpose for someone's doing right or wrong. They should do it on their own.
Well, I
and
don't think
should-
it matters what gender.
Or a man.
A person that you love.
No single individual should have the responsibility of being that catalyst that changes someone from good or evil. And Snape needed to find that for himself, or else he would never have been worthy of Lily. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I
He's a flawed character.
He's flawed, and I love his redemption. Like I said, like, there are people in history that have incredible redemptive stories. I mean, like,
Right.
Oscar Schindler was a Nazi, and then he ended up saving countless women, children, fathers, Jewish people, gypsies, homosexuals from death camps. And
Definitely.
like, that's absolutely a redemption story.
I think the reason where I'm arguing in his favor is just it goes to my personality in the sense that, like, I have a tendency to see the goodness in everybody.
I don't have
I'm
as strong
not-
opinion as either of you, so
I'm not
it's interesting.
saying that I don't see the goodness in Snape. I absolutely do. And do I think that he has an incredible character arc? Yes. Do I wish...
In my opinion, his goodness outweighs his bad.
Okay. Yeah.
it depends on the way you're looking at
Depends
it.
on the way you're looking at
I can see that.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
I can
but
see that.
So, but what we're arguing here is not whether Snape is a good character, or if, like, his shade of gray goes slightly more white than it is dark. The argument here is whether or not Snape would have been a good fit for Lily, and I think I have to argue he would have been a good friend, but he did not. He and Lily would not make a good match.
Well,
And you know
I
what,
will
to
say
be-
that I hope J.K. Rowling. I would have liked had she gone into more depth. I know it wasn't really vital to the story.
Can they please tell the Marauder story, please, JK?
Oh yeah, I would love a Marauders series. Thank
Yes,
you,
that would be really
please,
good.
and thank you.
But it had she thrown in more flashback, and I realized that it wasn't central to the
Yeah.
overall plot. But that would have been really interesting. And I know she has this website called Pottermore, and maybe there's more information on there, and I'll have to look.
I am.
But I think this is. I love this conversation.
Yes. I have to tag off of what you said before.
I need more wine.
Okay, have more wine first. We'll do this in a second. You were saying before about.
I said that I wasn't arguing his propensity for good, but that,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So
I said propensity.
I love that.
Thank you. I've been drinking, guys, and I'm still dropping propensities.
I love the vocabulary in this conversation.
Did we say we're nerds? Because we're nerds, and we know our vocab.
Oh yeah. Okay, so
And I'm a grammar Nazi.
what I want to say about Snape and Lily, I think, and this is just an overall statement, whether we're talking about Snape and Lily, we're talking about any other fictional characters, or we're talking about life, real people, there is a difference between being in love and being meant to be. And I think that too many fictional stories equate them. You can be in love with somebody. You can be completely in love with somebody. It doesn't mean you're right for each other. Now, it may mean that
Star-crossed lovers.
there's something, yes, absolutely, and it happens in real life too. It may mean that there's something that you want to explore in that and that you're going to need to get through. I mean, I believe in following what your heart says in terms of if this is somebody that you're curious about, go for it. Because it might, whether or not they're the right person for you, it might teach you something. But I caution people against saying, well, I'm in love with this person, so that means that we're meant to be. You need to think, what works in the long run? I mean, you could really love somebody but want different things. And it doesn't mean either person is a bad person. I think this happens way more often than people like to admit, and people get all upset about, like, why is my relationship failing? Because I love this person. And love is very real, very powerful. I don't want to discount it because really, like,
That's what everybody tries to find.
I've been in love with someone that was not meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
as have I, as have
like,
most people.
Yeah. But at the time,
But there's
you're right. You
there's
don't
a
think
difference.
that.
There's a difference between meant to happen and meant to be. And I think a lot of relationships are meant to happen because you need to get something out of it. But they're not meant to be in terms of that's who you end up with. And it's okay. It's okay to let go of somebody that you deeply loved. If it means that it's better for you in the long run and better for them in the long run. And I think that too many fictional stories, I'm getting all philosophical and deep with my wine, but I think too many fictional stories love to equate it. They're like, well, I've loved this person for so long, so it has to be meant to be. You could love someone for your whole life. It doesn't mean it's meant to be. Love is an important part, not a negligible part, but it is only a part
I have to find
of the story.
Yeah, I have to find it.
And that is my rant about love, Harry Potter, fate, meant to be.
But it's true. Like there are characters, like you said, fiction, nonfiction, people in our lives that
They love to equate it.
they think it's the same thing, and when in reality, like I'm sure most of us who are listening have at least like been in what I like to call loke, between like and love, or like they
Or even been in love.
or they loke.
Meaning
Somewhere between like and love.
Oh,
If you're in loke, so
I like that.
so
Along with your term relation dingy.
relation dingy.
When it's not quite a relationship.
A relation dinghy. So a dinghy is, of course, like, you know, a small little, like a little boat, small little boat. That's redundant.
so Love Boat.
No, it's
No, a smaller
so
boat.
like
I'm
people
kidding.
have like relationships. So I'm doing a play on words, like a ship, and then like a little ship, like a dinghy.
Gotcha.
So if you're in a relation dinghy, you're in this relation, like
You're in a
thing
not quite a
that
relationship
you're not
relationship.
quite sure what it is, but it's a dinghy. So it's a relation dinghy, kind of like being in Loke. But
I love your words.
thanks. I'm a loser muffin. That's another one.
Yes.
I like that one.
but-
That's my personal favorite.
Thank you.
Continue.
But anyways, like what Chelsea was saying, like there is a huge difference, and I think people get caught up in the fact that, you know, like you said, love is something that is incredibly powerful. That
Absolutely.
neither Chelsea nor myself nor Marissa, I'm sure she'll have something to say about this too. Like, we're not saying that love isn't powerful. Just because we all know that, like, you can love more than one person. It's possible.
Be in
You're
love
talking about
or
in
love?
No, to be in love. You can be in love with more than one person.
Maybe. I don't know. I've
Not,
never.
not at the same time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I thought you were talking like,
No,
like in the sense of like, I have two boyfriends and I love them both.
No.
Like in Friends, Monica loved Richard, but then
Yes,
Monica
yes,
loved
yes.
Chandler. And Monica and Richard were not meant to be, even though they were in love, and Monica and Chandler are meant to be.
Yes.
Because and they're also in love. So
Yes.
it's not an and or it's like it's not a meant to be, so it's not in love therefore meant to be. It's in love and also meant to be.
Yes.
So anyway,
Now I have the Friends theme song stuck in my head.
you're welcome.
That means I have to sing it to get it out.
Go.
Do it. I'm trying to find this quote from Stardust, which is like this amazing.
Still haven't seen that movie.
Oh my god, it's so good. So if anybody has seen Daredevil on Netflix, Marvel's Daredevil, Charlie Cox plays Matthew Murdock. I'm gonna get really geeky now. But he's the lead character in Stardust that also stars Claire Danes and Michelle Pfeiffer and Robert De Niro, and it's freaking awesome. But anyways, amazing
Yeah, I do.
line that Claire Danes' character says about love. And I just like always remember part of it. And she says that, I know love is unconditional, but it also can be unpredictable, unexpected, uncontrollable, unbearable, and strangely easy to mistake for loathing. And I love that because, like, that's what you're saying. Like, love is all of those things. But, like you
Easy
said...
to mistake for loathing.
Yeah,
I like
no,
that
it
one.
so is.
No, love is so much closer
It's
to
so-
hate than indifference.
yeah, like,
so much
yeah.
closer.
But, like, unpredictable, unexpected, uncontrollable, unbearable. Those are all things that
Absolutely.
love are, besides being unconditional. And I just
It's
love
powerful, it's intense, it's
Yeah.
very real, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's who you end up with. And it's okay because you're going to love somebody else if that's not who you end
So-
up with. And it's also a beautiful thing. Yay for all the beautiful things.
So what we're saying is that Snape's love for Lily might have been unconditional, unbearable, like all
Yes.
of these things, but was it meant to be? No, I don't think so.
But no doubt that he loved her.
But
he
no doubt.
absolutely did.
One thing I'm interested in, and it's not touched on in the novels, probably because due to lack of time space, is how she ended up with James. Like, it was just kind of, now she's with James.
JK,
Like, they
can
didn't,
you please write the Marauder stories?
Thank
they
you.
didn't really, if at all, go into any type of detail about their courtship, which I would have liked to know, like, just for some
I love that
background.
you use the term
I mean,
courtship.
I love it too.
Because it kind of goes from, the flashbacks where James is making fun of, almost said Sirius, Snape, and then, to what Kayla said, he makes fun of him back, then he says horrible things to Lily, then she doesn't want to have anything to do with him, and then all of a sudden they're graduated from Hogwarts, they're married, they have Harry, and then there was this prophecy, and then Voldemort comes trying to, looking for Harry. But it's kind of like they jumped over however many years in that time frame.
The
It's like-
Marauders.
yeah, and it would have been interesting.
You know what I think? If she doesn't write it in 10 years, we do it.
Okay, since we're talking about Harry Potter, Kayla's clearly stated she's a Gryffindor, Chelsea is a Ravenclaw, and
What are you?
well, we've had this discussion before, and I feel like I'm somewhat of a hybrid
Well, yeah.
Everybody's a little bit of hybrid. Okay, but with what? Go ahead.
of Gryffindor and Ravenclaw.
So Gryffindor.
You're a Gryffindor.
Yeah. I have never been placed in a situation where I needed to show bravery or courage to that degree that Harry
Well,
has, or any of his
nobody's
friends.
really fighting a Dark Lord,
Right.
but it's just like the bravery in your life.
So I think if I had to put myself somewhere, I would be a hat stall, but I think I would end up.
Yeah.
You'd be a Gryffindor?
I would end up in Gryffindor probably. Yeah.
I think that it's a lot harder for people to define what they are in terms of Harry Potter than it is to define what they are in terms of
Real life.
No, Divergent.
Divergent. Which I
Yes.
feel like those are much more
They're cut and dry.
They're cut and dry, and they also really emphasize not just the good qualities, but also the negative qualities.
Yes.
So
I never watched that, so I'm not too familiar with it.
So we'll cover
so
it.
there are how many different factions? There's
Dauntless, Erudite, Abnegation,
Amity.
and Candor.
Yeah, so
There's 5.
for those of you who aren't up on your SAT vocab,
Ooh, SAT book.
there's Dauntless, which of course is
The brave.
The brave. There's Amity, which
The kind,
Erudite,
the intelligent.
Candor, the honest, and Abnegation, those who are selfless. So
I'm not that one.
and so oftentimes in the novels, if you read all of them, you'll find that there are individuals who are divergent who, all of us really are divergent.
Well, the point is that real people are.
Yeah, real people are divergent and they have all these different qualities, but at
Some
this
have
point,
more of the one than the
yeah,
other.
and at this point, we're in a society where a lot of individuals have been, I don't want to say bred, but at this point, really, they have slowly there are individuals who manifest themselves as one singular quality to the point that it would put them in one house over the other, and then those that don't are the subject of the book. Really.
Definitely.
Everybody has that one faction that they would just go to.
Yeah, but it's also about what would you choose.
Yeah.
Divergent is about which faction do you choose to be part of.
Right. And
So it's an interesting question, what would you choose? And in the book, you have to choose a faction and then you live with it. It's like the faction before blood is what they say. So you have to choose a faction and then that's your family.
Yeah.
You leave your actual family and this is your world. Mm-hmm. So you choose. Do
I
you
don't
want to
like
be...
that.
It's weird. It's one of those futuristic sci-fi there are things that are wrong with
I
the
don't
world
really
type
like
of things.
that type of genre, which is probably
I don't know.
why
I'm
never
fascinated
genre.
by that.
I don't know.
I'm fascinated by dystopias,
Yeah, me
but
too.
yeah, but it's okay. Dystopias, futuristic things. So you do have to choose in this book. You choose which faction you would go live with. What do you want to be surrounded with? And the real thing is that everybody is divergent.
there are quizzes you can take and everything that tell you the percentage of all of yours.
Yeah.
And mine are
Same is true for Harry Potter.
Yeah,
houses.
mine are consistently the one I always get sorted into is Dauntless, followed by very very close percentages of Erudite and Abnegation.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is that again?
Selflessness. But I absolutely, like, am that stupid do it for the vine person. Like, where, like,
Yes.
reaches the point of kind of stupidity. That's why I would 100%
You
go on
are.
that list.
I love you for it, but
Like,
you
let's do a
are.
Spartan race. What do you mean your hip was paralyzed a few years ago? It's fine.
And what are you, Chelsea?
Erudite.
I'm an erudite.
With some amity in there.
Definitely amity, yeah.
And
Well-
animation.
Yeah. I'm mostly erudite. That's the one I would sort myself into, like, if I had to choose. So that's, you know, the intelligent, the educated. I mean, I definitely pride myself on that, and it's, like, I love doing that. I love finding out new things. Like, I'll spend days where I'm just, like, going down rabbit holes online and, like, finding as much information on a random topic that has nothing to do with anything. I just heard about it. So that's definitely me. But amity is another one. I definitely think there's a lot of value in being kind to people. And being open, being loving. I frequently say my empathy is my best and worst quality.
I feel like you're a mix of erudite, amity, and candor. You're one of the
You
almost
are
honest
very
people that
blunt.
I know. Like, in a good way.
No, it's
like,
very good.
Like, I know that if I say, like, anybody that's listening now, like, I know that if I say, like, Marissa, do I look good in this? And she honestly thinks I don't. She'll be like, you know, she'll be like, oh, maybe you should try something else. Like, you're never mean about it. But, like, you'll tell me the truth.
Yeah,
Like-
I think I do agree with that. I'm very outspoken
Yeah.
and opinionated, which is can
It's
be
like
both a
candor,
good and
yeah.
a bad thing. But once I have a solid opinion on something, I hold true to my beliefs and I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And I don't really care if you like what I'm going to say or not. I'm going to tell you what it is.
Right.
But that being said, I also think that I am nice. Like, I'm very, like, I don't sound like...
That's why I said amity, too.
Yeah.
We're all
Like,
nice.
You said, like, your best and worst quality is, like, your outspokenness. You said yours is your empathy, and mine's definitely stubbornness, tenacity. Like, my best and worst quality.
So anyway, I think we've exhausted the Severus Snape, Lily Evans topic. And now I would like to point out, so have either of you read Harry Potter and the Cursed Child?
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Duh.
So we're going to go around in a circle and try not to interrupt each other. And
We always interrupt each other.
I know. And just give unbiased opinion. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. And I'm just
Okay.
interested to hear. Kayla's taking out her notebook.
Okay.
Do you want to just go first, Kayla?
Yeah, sure.
Save you the trouble.
Yeah, anybody... So I have a notepad, so that, like, while everybody's like... I'm gonna leave it out, because...
I should
I
start
just said,
using
oops,
that.
like, Canadian. Anyways...
You're not Canadian.
So...
What?
You're not Canadian.
I know,
you're not
I'm not... I'm
Canadian.
French-Canadian. A few
But
generations
you're
back.
American.
I am American. I am American.
You're a New
Proud to
Englander.
be an American, or at least I know I'm free.
Okay. So... Anyway, so Cursed Child. I read it twice.
Once.
Once the day that it came out as a speed read, because
course
that's
you
what
did.
one does. I had lots of thoughts. Immediate likes that pop out. Love Scorpius.
I love me some Scorpius.
I love...
So maybe it's
man.
just easier if we interject.
Yeah. Love Scorpius,
Scorpius.
and I love the Albus Scorpius friendship.
I feel like Scorpius is like
Scorpius
born
is
into the wrong family.
Scorpius is the heart of that play. There is one significant part that really, really bothered me. And, there were things that I liked and disliked in it, but there was one thing that I just... Not only did it bother me, but it also felt dishonest to the rest of the world of Harry Potter. So, you have Harry, who's a child who's brought up in a cupboard under the stairs.
Old Mother Hubbard. No, I'm kidding.
Who knows what it's like to feel that emotional and psychological abuse from his family. Like, who knows what it's like to be that person that's completely forgotten, to be judged based on who he is, who his parents are. Even before he gets to Hogwarts, like, his family says, like, well, your parents were crazy, or they like, did all this stuff. And he understands firsthand what it is to feel neglected and disliked and like an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like even throughout the entire 7 novels, he still feels like he doesn't quite deserve the title that he has. He still feels like an outsider, and Ron and Hermione and Ginny later end up bringing him back and grounding him.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that Harry from the novels would have treated his son the way that he did and would have just judged him for being friends with a Slytherin. Like, I don't care.
It's like he forgot who he was.
It's like Harry forgot who he was. And I was just like,
Well, I think-
Harry Potter would not do this.
I think
like,
part of it was he's blinded by his hatred for Draco. And
But
because
does he
Scorpius
really
is-
hate Draco?
at the end, he didn't, like...
He doesn't really hate Draco by the
feel
end.
like Harry and Draco had an understanding at Malfoy
They're like
Manor.
oil and water.
They are, but they had an understanding at Malfoy Manor.
It's like the Red Sox and the Yankees.
Like how
They
we
were
started.
black.
They respect each other.
I don't
There's
know if
an
I'd go that far.
understanding and respect.
They tolerate each other. I don't know that they respect each other.
I think they respect each other by the end. Not during, but by the end of the series, they're like,
I'd say that I'll go in between you guys and say they did you say understand?
I said tolerate.
They understand one another. And I think that happens when Harry has his face all swollen up because Hermione jinxes his face at Malfoy Manor, and Draco refuses to immediately identify him.
Right.
Because he understands that identifying Harry like this is, granted he doesn't like Harry,
Gonna get killed.
but he's gonna get killed. And I think that, like, seeing the fear in Malfoy, and
like,
seeing where he is and where he's
Right.
coming from, and then later on when Malfoy chooses to go back to his parents rather than, like...
Right, and you could almost argue that he's not totally evil either, because he didn't kill. He refused to
I
kill.
have more sympathy for Draco Malfoy than I do for Severus Snape
Right.
sometimes.
Well, yes, because of his position.
Yeah.
But he, refused to kill
didn't-
Dumbledore.
he didn't want to be in that. They put him in a really
I don't think he asked
difficult
for it. I don't know.
position that he didn't want to be in.
And so I think
He was
at
just a
that
kid,
point,
you know?
I think at that point, adult Harry, I think after the Battle of Hogwarts, no, they would never have been friends.
No, of
But they
course not.
understood one another, because whenever
Yeah.
you go through something
I
like that,
will agree
they
to
have
that.
that understanding. And I think because of that, the way that Harry was portrayed in the play is completely opposite of who Harry is as a person. Now, the person that we know from the novels, like the character that we grew up with, is not the character we read in the play.
It's
and
just
I
he
think that really
reacted
bothered
differently
me.
to Albus than his
Yeah.
other children.
Exactly.
And another thing that I didn't like, just overall, the plot really bothered me. Can I just say, or
I just didn't like the plot in general.
I
well,
like
it
the
just
story.
didn't. No, because
Go
it
ahead,
just-
Yeah.
Well, let's start at the beginning.
A very good
Fuck with the
place
trolley
to
lady. Come on.
start.
With the evil trolley lady
Oh, yeah.
who's like chasing them on top of the train car. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That was just like
There's too much
J.K.
wine at this
Rowling
point
did
in the
not
night.
write that part. I'm telling you.
I'd like to note that I'm surprised I'm going to put it on the record that I'm surprised that the first F-bomb was dropped by Marissa. And I totally expected it to be me.
Well, I just found that part.
I
like,
did too.
So, like, other than surprising is what I'm getting at. But if I could think of a word now that was more intense than surprising, but it didn't match in my mind the trolley lady's character, especially when you see her. She's in the first movie when Ron and Harry are in the train car. They're going up to Hogwarts, and she's like this really nice trolley lady witch, and she's like, oh, anything from the trolley? Would you like some sweets? Like, you don't think that she's some, double agent evil person who, like, is, I don't know. I just had a problem with that.
I'd like to point out that there could have been a time when, between the Harry and Ron thing and now, that it could have been an evil person imposter, kind of like they had Mad Ed Moody,
But I
who
just-
wasn't actually Mad
possible.
Ed Moody.
Okay, right. Yes, anything is possible because it's magic. But I will just say that came out of left field, and it wasn't. It didn't match the character. Okay, but let's just, for argument's sake, say I can go past that.
Okay.
The
Trolley lady.
The Aries is coming out.
There was, yes. Up until a point, I will say I was intrigued and I was reading, but once it was apparent that, I don't even remember the character's name because I got disgusted, the one who was allegedly like the daughter of Voldemort,
Oh, yeah. What the hell was that all
which
about?
became the central focus, like she was trying to go back in time so she could, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And then I was talking to my friend Erin about this at a later date, and she's highly critical of this as well. She didn't like it. She she agreed with me that it made, like, absolutely no sense. Like, and she also told me that J.K. Rowling wasn't the only one who authored this.
No, she wasn't.
And I was very surprised to find that out, because I feel like, well, all these these plot holes, things that don't make sense, like, I feel like had she taken the time to do this on her own, if she even wanted to do it, I don't know if she was coerced.
She may not have wanted to.
I just feel like the story was weak, and I feel like had J.K. Rowling taken this on by herself, it would have been a lot better. I
As a side note, Bellatrix, girl, we knew you was a hoe.
right. Right. But so
Oh man.
her first half of the play is currently on Broadway, and I'm really not sure if I want to see it or not.
There are many good things on Broadway that you could see
Instead,
Yes.
but Chelsea, what do you think about the play?
Okay. It was kind of just
Right?
I mean, I haven't even really given it that much thought, and I don't even know that I remember all the details because
I only read it once.
it was
And people, I think
I
it was
mean,
so popular, and people
well, because it has to do with Harry Potter, and
because
everybody
it was
loves the originals.
J.K. Rowling. And
Yes.
people thought it was going to be like a Harry Potter book,
Well, everybody loves the Harry Potters themselves.
but I thought it was a disappointment. I must
Yes,
say.
I agree, and I guess I don't have as many things to say as you do, but it's mostly because I didn't even I read it, but it didn't leave the kind of impression on me that the other books did.
Right. That's because it was as you
Yeah,
said,
it was
Eh. That's the greatest. That's the greatest.
It was
Word of the day.
Sometimes you need just simple words. Like, there's a place for all the words, even if they're just interjections. There's also a place for profanity, but it
Here's to
has
Us,
to be
Hailstorm.
Love Here's to Us by Hailstorm. If you don't know the song,
Look
look
it
it
up.
up. It is just beautiful, and it's just such a power
Uses
song.
profanity in such a perfect
It
way.
uses it the right way, the way
Yeah.
it should be used. Not as a comma,
So true.
but as something meaningful.
Yeah.
You know, when it is actually the best word to describe the situation, love it.
Yeah.
But generally, I try to stray away from profanity for the purpose of there are usually better vocabulary words. But yeah, Cursed Child,
It is right.
Yeah. Also, how anybody want to just take a guess on how Scorpius became as freaking phenomenally awesome as he was with did Draco turn over a completely different leaf and decide?
Well, what do you mean?
He's a freaking awesome person. Just because.
Well, the thing is, he is nothing like his father. He's
Exactly.
not judgmental.
No.
He's not anything like him. That's why he's so freaking awesome.
Yeah.
To be blunt.
we love Scorpius. He's the best part of that in the rest of the
Who was his mother? I know she passed or was about. Yeah, who was the person he ended up marrying?
I don't know.
I don't know why I don't remember this.
What are you looking up?
Draco's wife.
She was mentioned at the beginning, but I think she wasn't.
Astoria Greengrass. That is her name. So, Astoria Malfoy. Astoria Malfoy, née Greengrass. 1982 to 2019. Oh, she's dying next year. Too bad. Was a pure blood witch. She was also a member of the Greengrass family, one of the Sacred 28. Astoria began attending Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry in 1993. 2 years below the famous Draco Malfoy, wow, her future husband, and her elder sister. After her education at Hogwarts, she met and married Draco Malfoy, and the two had a son, Scorpius Hyperion Malfoy.
Hyperion.
That is his middle name, according to Harry Potter Wiki. Astoria died during the summer of 2019. Okay, so that is Astoria Malfoy.
That's a weird name.
Astoria Malfoy
Yeah.
is Draco's wife, and she's dying
Scorpius-
next year.
And Scorpius's mother.
Oh, she's dying next year.
She's dying in 2019. So sad.
When was she born?
1982.
Oh, she's young.
Young for dying, right?
37?
Yes. You were correct, 37.
Wow.
Good job.
So, I would just like to say thank you, listeners, for sticking with us and listening to our opinions. And if you have any comments, we would love to hear from you. Or if you want to suggest any topics for us to discuss.
Thank you for listening to us tonight, enjoying Girls' Night with us.
And guys' night. If there are guys out there listening to this, awesome.
We love the guys. You know what?
I have 3 brothers, and they're the best dudes. And Chelsea has a brother, and, Marissa has, bros that are, bros from other mothers.
Yeah.
So, just guys and girls out there, whoever's listening to this and commenting and having ideas, it's just awesome.
There's no man-hating.
No.
We love everybody.
We do. Well, not everybody.
So,
Well, most people.
most of you.
If you're nice.
Okay, so we are excited to hear from you, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for
Over and
listening.
out. Bye.
Thanks for joining us again this week on the Sapio Files. If you enjoyed our show, be sure to leave us a comment and rate us on iTunes. We'll see you back here for more nerdy diatribes next week. Stay curious.